Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For this video, I'm going to be reacting to this TikTok psychic, quote unquote, just lost everything in court. Yeah, I've been reacting to these videos from Matosi because I've been following the story through him. So, I want to hear, like, what else he has to say about it. And, yeah, we all knew, everyone that was following the story, we all knew this was going to happen, but apparently the psychic didn't realize this was going to happen. But, if she was the real psychic, I'm pretty sure she would have known this was going to happen, but, yeah, I don't know what happened. I'll find out during the video, but, how are you going to claim to be a psychic, but this reading didn't come to you? But, anyway, let's get into this video, and please subscribe. Let me know what else I should react to in the comments below.
This is a self-proclaimed TikTok psychic, and what she's about to do will change her life forever.
This is not a feeling, this is knowledge. I did a reading when I saw Rebecca Schofield on the History Department's page on Rebecca Schofield and her connection. I also did readings on some of the
this
other
is just
people
the
and their
backstory.
connection. What came out on their reading is how
I don't know. If you don't know the story, basically she claimed she was a psychic. She found out about this story. She looked on the website and she just made up her own story about what happened, and then she started making all these TikTok videos trying to expose people that have no reason of being exposed. So to sum it all up, she put herself into someone else's business and it led to a lawsuit, and yep,
how they responded.
now we're gonna find the result of the lawsuit, I guess.
Feeling about it. What came out in Rebecca Schofield's reading was how she implemented it, how she planned it, and why.
So that was Ashley Gilliard.
This could have been avoided
Self-proclaimed
if she
TikTok
just minded her
psychic
own
just lost
business.
everything in court, and she has no one but herself to blame. And we'll get into that throughout the story. But the clip that we just saw happened in late 2022 when she decided to capitalize off of the tragedy that happened in the University of Idaho and claim essentially a random professor was behind all of that. This professor is Rebecca Schofield. Ashley continued to make dozens of videos claiming that Rebecca was the mastermind behind all of this until enough was enough, and Rebecca sent her a cease and desist. So did the TikTok psychic Ashley A, remove all videos to avoid getting sued, or B, double down and make everything infinitely worse for herself?
B.
Well, you've seen the title of this video, so I'm sure
B.
you have an idea of where this
What
is
do I
going.
win?
Because this was the TikTok psychic's next move.
I'm about to put this demand letter Rebecca Schofield attorney sent
Oh
me
yes.
about
This is just
Northern
recap.
White Mine.
None of this is
And
new
then, to
information.
make things worse for herself,
so
she
far.
made this video.
I've been against people, vegan, small corporations, and giants, and systemic policies and racism in one. They all regret coming against me, all of them. Now, Becca is going to be added to that list of regretful people. I haven't been served yet, but I'm actually gleaming with excitement. I am going to immediately start planning because I cannot wait to present my ideas in court regarding
Is this from last year?
In her role.
I think this is
in
last year because
of the
her Christmas
four
trees video,
University of
unless she put it
Idaho
up.
students. Like, I have physical evidence against
Okay,
Rebecca
this is last
Schofield
year.
that validates everything that I've said about her, but I can't.
She says she has evidence, but she was asking
So hopefully
access to her
court doesn't
Facebook or
take too
something
long.
to get
Yeah, that
evidence.
just doesn't make sense. If she had proof, why is she waiting for court? It's all going to be brought up there anyway. The professor did actually send a couple more cease and desist, but clearly that got her nowhere. So they ended up moving forward with a defamation lawsuit. But this whole situation is just like the TikTok psychic made the worst possible decision for her life over and over again. And she kept on getting outs, but she kept choosing the worst
She has no
possible route
business
for her
with
life.
these people.
But if you
She
thought
just
things
threw
were
herself
bad,
into that.
just like so many of my other
And then,
videos, it's
I
about
don't
to get
know
way worse because
what
Ashley, the
punishment she'll
TikTok
get.
psychic, she decides to represent herself. I still can't believe this. And this is against the two complaints of defamation the professor filed against Ashley. And this is all because the TikTok psychic went on to TikTok and confidently said in the ballpark of about 100 videos, 1, the professor masterminded this horrific crime. 2, that she had a very inappropriate relationship romantically with one of the victims. So these are two extremely serious allegations to be spewing out 100 times on TikTok with zero proof. And then to make things even worse for Ashley, I guess because she's representing herself, she missed the deadline to file her response. So technically, she defaulted right out the gate. She essentially lost the case before it really started.
Yeah, I guess
but
she
unfortunately for the
didn't want
professor, the
to.
court decided to be lenient towards the TikTok psychic and let her respond late and continue with the case. Ashley then decided to take this leniency
Probably 'cause they
and
wanna know.
countersue. And there's a massive
They
theme
just wanna
throughout this
see what
lawsuit,
she
I
has to
guess
say for
because
herself.
Ashley is representing herself. She's essentially side questing in this lawsuit and not actually focusing on the lawsuit. So, for example, instead of, I guess, responding to the request of admission, she was doing random stuff like that, or essentially spending all of her time trying to prove that Rebecca Schofield actually did this. What she failed to understand, though, is she's not supposed to start looking for proof after she's been sued for defamation. She's actually supposed to have the proof before she alleges something. But as I mentioned earlier, one of her many F-ups in this case was not responding to her request for admission. Because she didn't do that, that means she technically admitted to everything. And here's essentially like the request for admission that she was sent that she didn't respond to. And that is, admit that you have stated publicly that Rebecca Schofield had an affair with Kaylee. 2, admit that you have stated publicly that Rebecca Schofield was involved with what happened to the victims. 3, admit that plaintiff did not have an affair with Kaylee. My understanding is plaintiff is Rebecca Schofield here. 4, admit the plaintiff was not involved with the Kaylee and the other victims. 5, admit the only basis of your statement that plaintiff had an affair with Kaylee is your spiritual research, intuition, and instincts. So I can't believe this is a real case. You would think this is a parody, but it's real.
This is how
together here. 6, admit that the only
because
basis
of this
of your
case,
statement the plaintiff was involved.
Wouldn't this make you side-eye psychics if you weren't skeptical before? Like, how are you gonna believe a psychic that does all this? How you can believe anyone that admits they're a psychic? I feel like a real psychic wouldn't be known, like it would be secret. I feel like they wouldn't make money off of it because they wouldn't want people to actually know.
Until Mr. Koberger was arrested on or about December 30th, 2022. So she really was just clout chasing throughout this entire thing. This is such a brain dead grift on the TikTok psychics part because, I mean, like, when updates happened to the case, she then did like psychic readings, I guess, and then she was like, oh, she was communicating with Mr. Koberger. Okay, well, good thing you said that after they arrested the guy. 12, admit that you've never said plaintiff had access to a white Hyundai Elantra until after law enforcement publicly stated they were looking for information about a white Hyundai Elantra in relation to the on or about December 7th, 2022. 13, admit that you've never communicated with Jack. That is a messed up one because I think I covered this in the first video I ever made on this situation. So here, Jack, if I remember correctly, is one of the close friends of one of the victims. This egotistical, moronic TikTok psychic decided to make a whole story claiming that this professor somehow coerced Jack to go through with this horrific action. Because, like, the whole situation is just horrible for them. Because imagine the unthinkable happens to your friends, like, I guess from Jack's shoes, right? The unthinkable happens to your friends. And then suddenly, this random fat insane woman on TikTok is claiming that some professor at this school you allegedly go to coerced you to do the unthinkable. And then you have the other angle from Kaylee's family, where the unthinkable happens to your daughter, and then while you're trying to process all of this, you have some insane woman on TikTok claiming that she had an inappropriate relationship with the professor
I don't understand.
She went to.
She knows none of these people. Why would she just throw herself into all of this?
But continuing with what she admitted
to, it's so weird to me. She really has nothing better to do.
Brian C. Koberger. That's the guy who's currently arrested for it, who they believe did this. But skipping through this a little bit, you have 21, admit you have no written information showing the plaintiff ever met Jack. This is what I was talking about earlier, where she was claiming that the professor forced Jack to do the unthinkable. It's so wild. I mean, the whole thing is just so disgusting. I'm happy the professor is about to get justice as well. 22, admit that you've never received any information orally from another human being showing that plaintiff ever met Jack. 23, admit that you received and read a cease and desist letter from Stoll Reeves LLP dated, She basically proved that by posting this video.
I'm about to put this demand letter Rebecca Schofield attorney sent me by Letitia.
Because these days everyone likes to record evidence for the other side.
A whole series of cease and desists. And then 30,
everyone wants to put everything online
press release describing the request for admission
and out themselves.
To state that the plaintiff was involved with the. So essentially, the police put out a statement saying, hey, we have no evidence that this professor did this. So she saw that and just continued making video upon video, still claiming the professor did this. So as I previously mentioned, because she didn't respond to that, she technically admitted to all of that. So right out of the gate, she's already cooked. But this whole thing still turned into a massive roller coaster of events because she went in with high hopes.
I think this is how y'all want me to feel about it. For me, we had a $75,000 lawsuit that I'm going to win. Rebecca is suing me.
Then she had a change of heart and then suddenly was saying this is so unfair and she shouldn't have been sued to begin with.
Y'all need to stop asking me about this lawsuit. It should not even have been allowed. First of all, for multiple reasons. But for the legal reason was because it's the improper venue. I'm not an Idaho resident, so I should not be sued. Then they got the nerve to not allow pro se clients to e-file. Meanwhile, so her attorneys are e-filing documents. If I want to file a document, I got to fly to Idaho or mail it in and hope they get it. First of all, there needs to be some type of system that automatically declines lawsuits that are frivolous. Why would you sue a Texas resident in Idaho? It makes no sense.
Why would
So I
you
file this motion to dismiss or whatever
be
it
all
is
up in
that
their
it's about. I
business
shouldn't
and
have to
then
do it. It should have automatically
talk about
been
people that you don't know
rejected
about
for
and
improper
then
venue. It's not,
get a
it's
lawsuit in
not
the first
fair, and
place?
it's not cool.
Then
I'm
she
confused.
contemplated fleeing the country.
I would like to go to Bali, get myself together, and just enjoy life for like a few months.
And finally, she decided to pick herself up by her bootstraps and attempt to win the case.
If you see, there's a lot of videos about.
I feel like she just wants attention, because why else would you do this?
None of them are in court because
This makes no-
nobody was threatened by me.
makes
I'm in
no
court
sense at
because
all.
I told the truth.
Well, about that, spoiler alert, she got absolutely destroyed. Apparently, tarot cards really don't hold up in court. Who would have known? But don't underestimate her, because she still had some absolute brain-dead tricks up her sleeve, like trying to subpoena the professor's lawyer to testify against her own client. That's like saying, Your Honor, I have the IQ of your shoe size. I guess brain-dead moments like that happen when you represent yourself in court, but the professor's team has now filed a motion for partial summary judgment, and from what I can tell, there's no real reason for it to not be granted, and of course, the TikTok psychic herself, she did respond to that as well. But the TLDR of the professor's motion is plaintiff Rebecca Schofield respectfully requests that the court enter summary judgment on
Okay,
both
so
of her claims
I
against
kinda just wanna know what
Ashley
happened to
Gilliard.
her.
As a matter of law, and as a consequence
'Cause I already
of
know
her
all this
failure
other
to
stuff.
engage in this litigation as required in the federal rules of civil procedure, Ms. Gilliard has admitted to defaming Professor Schofield. Ms. Gilliard's admissions establish beyond dispute that Ms. Gilliard is liable for her defamation of Professor Schofield. Accordingly, all that remains is for a jury to determine the extent of Professor Schofield's damages. And here they essentially just lay it into her by saying the following facts have been conclusively established by Ms. Gilliard's admissions and other evidence. Ms. Gilliard stated publicly that Professor Schofield was involved with of all the victims. Professor Schofield was not involved with of the victims. The only basis for Mrs. Gilliard's public statements that Professor Schofield was involved of
Oh my
is Ms.
gosh.
Gilliard's spiritual research, intuition, and instincts. Ms. Gilliard is not
And the
aware of
crazy
any
thing
physical
is,
evidence linking
this
the
lady
questions
is not the only
before
person like this. There's
Ms.
other people
Gilliard
like
has
this
no written information and has not
that
received
are
any
weird
information
like
orally
her
from another human being
that
showing
exist
that
around the
Professor
world.
Schofield ever
So,
met any of the victims. Ms. Gilliard knew that Moscow
I feel
Police
bad to the
Department
people
issued a press
that
release on
have to
December
interact with
27th
them in real life.
stating they did not believe that a female associate professor and the chair of the history department who is suing a TikTok user for defamation is involved in this crime. Then they continue by saying concerning Professor Schofield's second claim for relief, the following material facts have been conclusively established. Ms. Gilliard publicly stated that Professor Schofield had an affair with Kaylee. Professor Schofield did not have an affair with Kaylee. The only basis for Ms. Gilliard's statement for Professor Schofield had an affair with Kaylee was Ms. Gilliard's spiritual research, intuition, and instincts. Clearly, that's a common theme in this whole lawsuit. And then it just continues by saying Ms. Gilliard is not aware of any physical evidence showing that Professor Schofield had an affair with Kaylee. And then you have the conclusion to this, which reads, for the reasons stated herein, Professor Schofield respectfully requests the court to grant plaintiff's motion for summary judgment and hold Ms. Gilliard liable for her defamatory statements as a matter of law. The evidence conclusively establishes that Ms. Gilliard's statements defame Professor Schofield. All that remains is for a jury to determine the amount of Professor Schofield's damages.
I'm pretty sure the
I mean,
jury
TikTok
will have no
psychic is
trouble
cooked here. She's absolutely
this.
grilled. She has no wiggle room here at all. She lied about a random professor for attention on the internet, and clearly it's not a harmless lie. This is serious life-ruining defamation.
But,
not only for the professor, but also
what
for
is the
families of
punishment
victims.
for
I
defamation?
briefly touched on this earlier,
Jail
because
time?
what makes this a whole new level
Oh
of
no, I feel like
messed
that's
up
not.
is the outrageous statements about
I
the
feel like
victims, and
jail
they're not even here to
time
defend
is not
themselves. I just can't imagine
a good
being
punishment
a
for
grieving family
defamation.
having the unthinkable happen
I think
to
the
your
punishment
kid, and
should
then
match
have
the
some
crime,
random psycho on the
but I
internet
don't think
making up a bunch of
defamation
lies about them, claiming they had an
requires jail
inappropriate
time.
relationship and so on and so on. That's the last thing you want to hear. It's just a beyond disgusting thing to do, and hopefully this case now comes to an end. But of course, not before the TikTok psychic Ashley responded yet again. And this whole response
Uh-oh, what'd she say?
proves how incoherent she is. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but like some of this just needs to be documented. Like I read this and I was like, guys, we gotta talk about this because this is just, it's insane. Introduction. Comes now. Defendant Ashley Gilliard is in opposition to plaintiff Rebecca Schofield's motion for partial summary judgment. This litigation is a matter of determining the truth of the matter, whether or not Rebecca Schofield caused of the 4 University of Idaho students. It's not about that. The whole case is if you defamed her or not. This is not the time to role play as a detective. No, you're supposed to show the court
And this lady has a
evidence
kid.
you had before you made these statements. It's also important to determine if the court has subject matter
I don't know.
jurisdiction
If
over
she's
the
doing this
plausibility
publicly, what
of
happens
spiritual belief and
behind
practices,
doors
which was brought into question
when
by
she's
Dr.
with her kid?
50.
Like,
Lastly, it is also important to
she
determine if spiritual messages
normal?
give
I don't
rise
know.
to a cause of action for defamation. None of the above have been determined. Additionally, defendant Ashley Gilliard has never admitted to defaming plaintiff Rebecca Schofield. Instead, she has continuously argued that this litigation was brought illegally in bad faith to avoid Rebecca Schofield from being properly investigated for ordering the victim. She keeps double downing. And also, she did admit by not responding. This whole case is just gonna go in loops because she's not giving any leeway, and she clearly doesn't even understand what she's doing because this isn't the place for that. Why is she... Like, as I mentioned earlier, she's like doing these like side quests that have nothing to do with this court case to do. She's just LARPing as a detective. This litigation has been complicated by the courts and the public's ignorance on plausibility of tarot card readings, spiritual connections, and spiritual beliefs. Defender Ashley Gilliard has evidence that she and her spiritual messages are reliable sources. For example, Ashley Gilliard conducted an intuitive tarot card reading for someone on March 8, 2023. It predicted the upcoming death of the person's husband, who was otherwise healthy and young. She's really using a YouTube video of her doing tarot card readings as proof in a lawsuit that tarot cards work. Yeah, it's just like a 40-minute long video of her doing a tarot card reading for, I guess, a client. And I guess that client's husband passed away later on. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Sorry, I'm dumbfounded. I'm actually at a loss of words. This is wild that she stated that. And because she did a tarot card reading on the school faculty website of, I guess, a random professor, she then believes that's facts. So much so that she makes like 100 TikToks and then ignores cease and desist, goes forward with a lawsuit claiming she's excited to
I asked this before in another video about her. Like, what do her family and friends think if she even has friends? Like, what do they think?
She just keeps doubling down.
What does she do behind the scenes if this is what she does in public?
Is wild because without the internet, I would have had zero idea that people like this actually exist. So because of this, she has
me too. I've never
read
met
the
anyone
messages she
this
received
crazy.
about Rebecca Schofield are substantially true. Schofield and her attorneys have continuously lied about Ashley Gilliard in every legal document they filed in the civil complaint. For example, Wendy made a false statement the defendant Ashley Gilliard posted content about the students to make money. Attorney Wendy published that lie about Ashley Gilliard knowing it was false because she had the documents from TikTok provided to her after the subpoena dated June 20th, proving that defendant Ashley Gilliard did not make any money by posting content on TikTok. Okay. What about that client you just showed you had? I'm assuming because you made all these TikToks and you had your email to book you as a tarot card reader, you received clients that way. So you received money from this, even though it wasn't TikTok monetization. So that's also just being misleading. But also, that's just like a small thing. That's like a side quest again, because this whole
people
case
wanted
is about,
readings
did
from her?
she defame the professor or not? Attorney Wendy also
Wait, what? People actually believe her?
several lies about Ashley Gilliard in multinational news media. Additionally, Gilliard has reason to believe the entire complaint was filed fraudulently and frivolously. As a matter of law and as punishment for continuous judicial misconduct and several prejudiced statements and documents, defendant Ashley Gilliard requests the court to deny the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment and to heavily punish the plaintiff and her legal counsel with sanctions. Oh man, this must be such a weird case to be a judge on, because how do you keep a straight face when one of the sides is throwing down tarot cards as facts and using them as her arguments, representing herself? and then also just
Oh
doesn't
no,
even
the
understand
punishment
how the
might be
lawsuit
like
is supposed to be. Clearly, because she's not a lawyer. Oh man, like this is just
what are those places called when they have to mental hospital? It might be the punishment for her. Maybe she might have to be ordered to go to one.
She is believed to be telling the truth about Rebecca Schofield's role in the Ford University of Idaho students and Schofield's affair with Kaylee. So she keeps on doubling down. Additionally, the plaintiff has not provided any evidence that Gilliard is not telling the substantial truth. Well, the whole thing that you forgot to respond to, technically you admitted that you were defaming the professor in that. So that's a big
I wonder what her
Schofield
child
and
thinks
her
about
friend
this. I'm pretty sure
has
people
continuously abused the judicial
know
system. They filed the frivolous
people that they know in
complaint,
real life
disrespected
know
spirituality.
what's
Ashley
going
Gilliard
on through
and her
TikTok because
spiritual
everyone,
beliefs
not
have
everyone,
lied
but
in
a lot of people have
every
TikTok.
docket they filed
So I'm pretty
in the
sure
complaint to manipulate the
her
court to
child's
believe
friends
lies about Ashley
are like,
Gilliard. They
what's
blocked
going on?
Gilliard's attempts at obtaining evidence to prove that she's telling the truth about Rebecca Schofield's role. Okay, so we briefly touched on that in one of my previous videos I made on this. But at one point, Ashley tried to subpoena the professor for essentially her entire digital footprint, bank records, all of her social media accounts. So
this is what I was talking about before.
Anything that could corroborate
She wanted
her
evidence.
insane story. So clearly she's mad that
She wanted to
wasn't
find evidence because she
granted
didn't have
that.
evidence.
Now they filed a frivolous request for summary judgment. Whether or not the court has jurisdiction and if the court impeded upon Gilliard's right to judicial impartiality is pending. Discovery is still ongoing. No, it's not. This is insane. For the aforementioned reasons, the request of summary judgment is inappropriate and must be swiftly denied. The court must deny the request for summary judgment unless it is for a complete dismissal of the complaint and punish Schofield and her attorneys with sanctions. Anything less is an impediment to judicial impartiality for Gilliard. And then here you have like the biggest what is going on here, the prayer of relief. It says she wants, so this is like what she wants from this: award Ashley Gilliard all court related fees and sanctions pursuant to Rule 11 in the amount of $1 million.
Oh my god.
Number one, what fees? Because she's representing herself. I guess like what, like filing fees for like the countersuit she tried to file. That would probably be the only thing she paid money for, I think.
And she brought this all on
$1 million.
herself, so
is she claiming that she received
she has no one else to
$1
blame
million
but herself.
in
I don't understand why
damages from
she's still
lost
going along with this.
clients for her tarot card reading business. I'm trying to understand where did she pull the $1 million on? Did she just go, well, I went through all this, I deserve $1 million? Where are you getting the number from? But other than that, she also wants to dismiss the action with prejudice due to failure to state a claim for relief pursuant to Rule 12b-6. And 3, set aside order docket 49 pursuant to Rule 60 and Rule 60b. Okay, that was possibly the dumbest legal document I have ever read through. Thank you, Ashley Gilliard. Very cool. Honestly, yeah, if I was a betting man, I would never bet any money on her winning this case because it's guaranteed she's going to get
The
cooked.
jury.
Essentially, she's just given us a
There's a jury,
masterclass
right?
on how to make
they'll
an
have no problem
absolute fool out of yourself
choosing
and ruin your life,
who's the
all in
winner in this
span of
case.
a year. And somehow she also has a child to provide for as well. So to that kid, good luck, Charlie. You're
That's what
really
I'm
going to need
thinking.
that because I mean, with this role model, it's safe.
Does
to
she
say
even
odds
have
are
custody of the
stacked against
kid?
her. I'm still trying to figure out where she got.
Will
the
she still have
$1 million
custody after
from,
this
because,
case?
she was the one that made in the ballpark of 100 TikToks defaming the other part, not vice versa. This whole case.
Because I'm pretty
so
sure she's not
bizarre.
married.
But that's the story of how this TikTok psychic.
'Cause how
ruined
can you
her
live with
life in
someone
just
that
the span
acts
of
like
a
this?
year. If you want another TikTok deep dive, this is also insane because it starts off weird and then it spirals absolutely out of control.
Okay, so that is the end of this video basically. But yeah, I cannot believe, I guess she's so stubborn. Like, pretty sure deep down she knows that she's wrong, but she's gone this far, so why not just go to the end? But yeah, I don't understand her. So I'm gonna be looking forward to the next update about this story because it's not gonna end well for her. But anyway, that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Let me know what else I should react to in the comments below. And if you want to see my experiences in Korea, you can check out my first channel, SEKSHI. And if you want to see my other socials, it's right here under my face. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.